一度外してそれでそれじゃ解決しない事実は小説よりいきなりどうしたらいいんだこんな難しい質問だとは予測
What's up, y'all? Welcome to another review by Ryan. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, September 1st. We've made it out of August and we are almost at the end of the summer season, both in real life and the summer season of anime too. I hope you all find this video in good spirits and good health, and I do apologize for the delay. Unfortunately, my Made in Abyss reaction ran way over when I was supposed to get it done, and I also do a deep dive session after that show, and the deep dive ran way over also. So I was only able to get Made in Abyss out yesterday, and I have to get this one out today. But alas, here we are. In this reaction, we will be reacting to the 9th episode of My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex. The title of today's episode is Youthful, Indiscretion. Before I start today's reaction, I have been posting this on all of my reactions for this week. Just in case you haven't already seen, there is a new show that I've added last minute into my reaction lineup, and that show is the A1 Pictures original Licorice Recoil. This show, I never expected to like it as much as I ended up liking it, and because I'm so passionate about where we're going with the show now, I decided to react to it for the remainder of the summer season. So if you haven't already checked out the 9th episode reaction to it, it is up on my page now, and I hope you'll watch the remaining reactions of that show for the rest of this season. So, when it comes to My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex, you know, last episode really told me one thing and one thing alone. Higashira, if we were not dealing with, you know, Yume and Mizuto and the absolute clear crisis that they are having right now, Higashira would be a great fit and match for Mizuto. The chemistry that they have truly is unrivaled, but just as quickly as I'll say that I believe them as a couple would work out very nicely, it also stands to be said that in situations like this, maybe keeping that platonic friendship is indeed the best course of action for their chemistry as people. Not everyone we're meant to date, even if we have good chemistry. And, you know, this really could float both ways, but I think that in the last 2-3 episodes, Higashira has really established herself as a really great girl in this series. I really do love her just direct personality. And, you know, even though she was rejected because of the circumstances she was rejected on, you know, she really handled that like a trooper. I mean, she handled that far more maturely than many adults would have handled a situation like that. And it was very funny when, you know, Yume called her out ultimately, like, yo, do you still like him? And she was like, absolutely. But, you know, what they have is bigger than any rejection. And I truly do believe that he does feel a sense of comfort with her at the end of the day. And this is truly one of those situations that whether we are romantically involved or friends, that you're still the homie, you're still, you know, one of my best friends here. And even the short amount of time that they've been involved with each other. And I do love the respect that's established there. Of course, each time that him and Higashira have interacted, Yume has become more and more and more jealous, and then she even had him put her own socks on at the end of the last episode, to which, of course, he obliged, and then they both got all wonky with each other because the feelings that he has doing something like that for her is going to be different than doing it for Higashira, because obviously he gets turned on by pretty much anything when it comes to Yume, though he still manages to hold his composure together. Poor Yume, she can't handle anything, so this girl's just collapsing, crashing, and burning right now. But of course, at the end of the episode really is where things stood out with where they're at, because Mizuto did ask if him and Yume had remained with each other, would they have been as close as he is with Higashira, and that is where we ended the episode. So, you know, you really do feel the crisis at hand. Again, the title of last week's episode was The Former Couples on Edge, and, you know, I've been saying this for several episodes now. I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to hang on to this without something being said or something needing to be addressed, or ultimately something needing to be said to the parents, because it's truly a crisis right now. They're in a crisis right now. The logical thing would indeed be, hey, we tried that rodeo back in middle school. It didn't work. We're family now, and there's nothing I can do about it. And him focus more on someone who actively wants him that is not in that conflict, which would be Higashira. But this is truly one of those few shows that I'm watching, and I do understand the dynamic is because things happen so fast, and obviously they have not been in this family setting very long. Even if they ultimately do realize that they should not continue with trying to potentially rekindle the flame that they had in middle school, it would still be logical for them to say something to the parents now, because they're not going to be able to continue this much longer, and one of them's going to cave and then they're going to get caught. So, and I don't want to see that. I'd much rather everything be put out on the table for us all to know and to just kind of ride with what things are going to be from that point. So, up to this stage, I've really enjoyed this show. Again, I said last week that the show sits easily between an 8 and an 8.5 for me. And at this stage, I just want to see how we're going to conclude this. You know, we've now watched the conclusion of the Higashiro segment now and how they're going to deal with that. So now we really need to get to a conclusion, which will probably take the remaining of this season. How are we going to get to any level of resolution when it comes to Yume and Mizuto and their love that they clearly still deeply feel for one another? So as far as the ratings went for the show this week, of course, in Anime Corner and Anime Trending, My Stepmom's Daughter continues to do very solidly in both of those popularity polls. In Anime Corner, the show is in 6th place with 4.45% of the votes. And in Anime Trending, the show is in 7th place, falling 3 spots from the previous week. Though I don't know if this is the updated one. And then as far as Mal is concerned, the show is at a solid 7, which is considered normal for these type of shows. These type of shows normally never get above a 7.5 on Mal. And, you know, it is riding right at 7 out of 10. But I do believe that this is a solid show, and it has been a solid entry to the summer season up to this point. So let me go ahead and get this pulled up here. And we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to go ahead and get this episode started. And let me make sure I'm ready. All right, and let's get this episode reaction started in 3, 2, 1. Another flashback to the... Oh, of course. Oh. Y'all are such dorks, I swear. It is always so pure when things start out like that, but then as you go through middle and high school and you realize more of the complex dynamics that exist in a relationship, you realize that it's not just as simple as kissing and looking out at the sun and this and that. So, yeah. Also, I really need Minami to stop harassing this girl's boobs. I swear. Youthful Indiscretion. Oh, oh, when she first came over. Of course, in the future, that would change. Yo, I cannot commend this man's library enough. Look at all these books he has. Is the bed. Yes, you are. A lot. A lot. I wish I had established a library like that. I really need to get back into reading too. I used to read a lot. So my only question is, since she came over to his house at that time, did she just not see anything? Like, did she just not ever see her once? And that's why they had no idea? I guess that's the case. Wow. Oh. Ah! I want to eat your pancreas! Oh no! Let's not read that book! Oh no. Oh no. Well, that's depressing. Though she was ready, though. She was ready. She said, "We're skipping all the pleasantries. We're just kissing." This is not a story I'd want to read, though. Because all of us who watch the series know how this ends. Oh! Oh. Oh, snap. You are missing all the cues of what she's trying to do. He really was pure in mind. My girl, it's been 6 months and y'all are still in school. See? Sometimes guys ain't just trying to have sex all the time. See? I mean, he's trying to slowly build. It's fine. But see, you gotta speak up, my girl. If there's something that's concerning you like that, and this applies both ways, you gotta speak up in a relationship. See, and he was struggling. You gotta speak up. Yeah, and you see, someone gotta speak up. But again, these are middle schoolers going into high school. It happens that way. Basic misunderstandings that probably results in their relationship falling apart, and it happens at that age. So, thank you. Say something. See, he's not super dense. You just gotta say something, and he'll get it. Oh, dang. Mm. And he'll still be able to, my girl. And you can do, yeah, yeah. You really feel they really were trying to do this the right way. Again, I keep saying it's just basic issues. Also, it's so rare in this day and age to find guys that really like to read like that. Aww. Aww. happy for you. Oh no. She's going somewhere with her friend. Yeah. You know, I'm not even mad at her. She finally made but see, this is when you have to speak up. Like, it's just basic stuff that we have to learn over time. She doesn't mean anything wrong by it at all. She's finally found a friend, and you know, obviously, spending 100% time with your significant other isn't something that you really should do. It's not really healthy, in my opinion. You should spend decent time with, you know, friends and stuff too. But see, you gotta speak up. You just see. Don't be like that. Don't don't be like that. Oh, that's a hit on you, my dude. I'm sorry. Don't be like that because you never once brought up that you'd like to, you know, make sure y'all are still spending time. That's not Yume's fault. You gotta speak up. We have to speak up on both sides. You're frustrated. Yeah, you're frustrated, and I get that. You're frustrated. Please make sure you do, cause that won't cool. That won't cool. Because now she's gonna do this and spend time, but it's gonna be on bad pretenses. Oh, of course he would. Oh my god. And you may, it's not your fault. It sucks. And this is how the seeds of jealousy and dislike form. Again, and you're communicating it now, so that's good. You didn't let it drag longer than it needed to. Uh oh. Yeah, and you did kind of open up that can the other day. But see, y'all both can't be that way either. Now she's ran. He's not. No, you may. You've jumped way. Okay, you jumped way. Yeah, he did mess up, but come on, my girl. This is that middle school stuff. I tell you. Because obviously, as you mature and become an adult, you understand that it's not that serious. Yeah, he would not cheat on you, my girl. The seeds of distrust and dislike was opened up. He made a mistake with what he said, and now she's run with it, and now the relationship just falls apart from here. What a damn shame. Middle school misunderstandings and jealousy. And you both acknowledge this, but this is the type of talk that you have to be having with each other. Like, talking about it when y'all are separate like this now doesn't fix anything. And that was a solution too. And just communicating. Yeah, but bottling isn't right either. Again, communicating in a healthy fashion is the ideal solution in something like this. But these are kids, and I have to keep that in mind. Ideal solutions never work out when you're in middle school. McDonald's. All right, and you gotta apologize for your part too, my girl. Let's go, because that's how. Yeah, she probably wasn't, and she's still kind of just. See, little things like that really do affect women in general, and that's why we do have to be conscious about that. Because you're walking in front, you're showing in body language that you are. Yeah. It's like you just said words, but you're not actually holding to those words. This is so painful to see because as adults now, we know what all the logical answers to every single issue that's happening now is, but they're middle schoolers and they're not really processing what they should be doing. And now they're just putting this ain't, I feel so bad for both of them. Just misunderstandings after misunderstandings that are typical for people in this age bracket to make. You're both good people. I mean, without communicating your desires, my girl, it doesn't work that way. Yes, you should have. Communication. Because it was really a basic fight that could have easily been handled by communication and open dialogue. It's painful to watch, it fall apart this way. But in this age bracket, that's just how it goes. And And being that it's been a year, that means for 6 months you've had this off vibe, and it's just so destructive. Y'all both just didn't know what should be the right call. It's an easy mistake that young couples make. Such a shame. It was just, damn. All the way to Valentine's. So it's just been like this for months. That's terrible. See, y'all literally let this drag all the way longer than a year. You just didn't communicate all the way through graduation, but yet y'all stayed a couple. Yeah. That was the only thing. Y'all just. And you both killed it. You both killed it. You were equally responsible. Damn. She was ready. I mean, yeah. Oh, wow. You damn well know you was both thinking the same thing that day. Yes! As y'all both been for each other the whole time! Ooh! She was. Whoa! Wait, you're not talking about kissing, you're talking about sex! Bruh. Give it back. Oh my god. Oh man. Alright, so that episode was great because we got to get the full rest of the story. between what they went through leading up. And I gotta tell you, being exactly 30 years old now, and obviously having gone through this entire relationship cycle and seeing it on all ends, how it tends to go, and also remembering how things went back in middle and high school days. This was honestly a painful episode to watch, but painful from the concept of just because now, as adults, at least most of us, should mature in a way to realize that basic lines of communication can resolve mostly everything. 90% of most issues that happen between couples, even into adulthood and beyond, happen because of the lack of communication. Because a subject is sensitive in nature and it's an uncomfortable subject. But when you are in a relationship, especially if it is with someone that you believe may be your future and forever someone, establishing good lines of communication early on and maintaining those lines of communications through the days, weeks, months, and years following the start of your relationship is absolutely essential. One misunderstanding led to another misunderstanding. She was so proud of making friends. And again, I would have been fully supportive of that. But when you're in middle school and you're thinking in that middle school mindset, it kind of runs rampant. You want to spend all of your time, 100% of your time with your significant other, because you're fearful if you don't spend your time with that person, that person is going to gradually navigate away from you. As you become an adult, you do realize that that's simply not true. And yes, there are people that I know to this day and age that are a little younger than me, but still we're all in the general same age bracket, that they do spend a vast majority of their time with their significant others. You even have some people who will drop their regular jobs to basically stay at home so that they can spend more time, whether it be with each other, with the kids. Normally that decision's made once you have kids and things like that. Have kids or pets or a family circumstance that requires you to be at home for long periods of time. So it's very, that does happen in real life. But from a general sense of things, establishing early on that having healthy outside of romantic relationships, having friends, having a group of people, a circle that you can wholeheartedly trust, that you can confide in, that is, in my opinion, an essential thing to ensuring that if you are in a relationship, that your relationship with your romantic partner remains long, happy, and healthy. When you want to spend all your time with one person and then you lit those bottle up, and that was the other issue here, is that, again, Mizuto at the time, in naive, young middle schooler fashion, he lit that bottle up that he wanted to spend more time. All he had to say was, I'm really happy that you have friends, but can we make sure that we spend some time with each other too? Or something of that form. If he had just outright told her, I'm really happy, and is it fine if I possibly hang out with your friends, or would you like me to, or anything of that nature, that would have opened up the dialogue and made it clear to her that he misses the time that they spend. But instead, he jumped and said, I don't care about hearing about your friends. That is a no-go. That is no bueno. We don't do that. That's not cool, guys. Let's not do that. And that applies on both sides of the coin. You don't tell someone else that you are in a relationship with something that they are recently passionate about. Because remember, it took a lot for Yume to break out of that cycle that she was in. She is an introvert through and through, and she finally found the courage to be able to start opening up, and she owes a majority of that courage to none other than her very first boyfriend, the very first person that she was engaged in a romantic relationship with. And so in her mind, she just expects to have that support. She doesn't realize that there is a problem, and quite frankly, in a situation like that, she's not going to. Yes, as you become an adult, you may start to become more adept in picking up when a person is jealous and this and that, but the reality at the end of the day is that's not, it's not a person's job to figure out all of the negative things that you may be thinking, especially if you are a couple. And you guys, you got to understand that this is a major reason why most relationships and even marriages to this day and time don't last as long, and they end in really sloppy, messy ways. They end because of basic naivety and immaturity. Immaturity that if you don't counter that immaturity when you are in middle and high school and you let it carry on into your adult life, it becomes worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, obviously, once that happened, that then led to multiple layers of distrust forming. Then she was like, okay, I'm not going to spend time with friends. And because in her mind, I was just like, damn, he was incredibly unhappy with me being with who I thought he was going to be happy and supportive of me about, well, okay, whatever, I'll drop spending time with my friends so I can spend more time with her. That was a big no-no. You also don't do that. Absolutely don't do that. It's not cool. You do not have to drop friends for a significant other or vice versa, unless either side is toxic. And that is a different story that I won't get into for the purposes of this reaction. But in general, I have a policy in place that if I'm with someone, I'm not going to drop my friends because of me being with a significant other or vice versa, unless there is a toxic reason why one or the other needs to be dropped. Because that's just not cool. We don't do that. I always value, especially in adulthood, that even when you're married, that having good friends helps give that balance. Your significant other cannot be the answer to all of your problems and questions. Just like your friends cannot be the solution to all of your problems in question. The real big difference between the two is you're engaged romantically with one and you're not with the other. And that really is the only true thing that really separates. That person you have that romantic bond with, you have established, you have the most innermost part of your being attached to. And that's really the only difference. But even then, in a way, there are some people who have friends that do fill that role. They're just simply platonic. So you have to have a balance. And Yume having friends that she was establishing absolutely warmed my heart, and I was very happy to see that. And I was very disappointed in Mizuto for his performance then, but then it went to the petty back and forth stage. She got jealous of him having the girl when he was just advising the girl on a book to read. And then the seeds of distrust, the seeds of jealousy, the seeds of hatred were planted, and because they continued through the rest of the episode, through the rest of the flashback, to not communicate those valid concerns that they were having with each other, we all saw how everything ended, where they went through Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's without any communication with each other. And then on graduation day, it was no sadness or anything. It was just, we're done. Okay. She pretty much walks away probably angry. I'm sure she cried later on. And then for him, he says that he was liberated. And watching this was painful because all of this could have been avoided if they just had open lines of communication. But of course, now we see at the end, they weren't given too long to be able to be away from each other, because shortly after the graduation and they became first years, parents remarried. Here they are. This is your sister now. And now we are where we're at today, where they had that big confession at the end of the episode that they really were trying to go down. And I want to say that this was going to be a whole lot more than kissing. There was about to be some young love that night for absolute certain. So this was a good episode to watch. And it was a good episode to watch because it is a very textbook mistake that young couples make. And in a way, it's painful to watch that because we're more mature now. But watching it in the context of this show, it was painful to watch because you could clearly see they had a lot of love and care for each other, but they had no way, they didn't have the maturity of understanding how to communicate issues. And this is an issue that we see time and time again, and it's something that exists with essentially all young couples, with the exception of the select few. And I don't really put more blame on one than the other for anything that led up to them breaking up. So I'm really happy that we got this episode. We got to get the rest of the backstory behind all of the inner details that led up to them having to separate. And so now truly what's left in the show is, how do we move forward? How do we deal with the growing return of emotions and the fact that they realize that they made a lot of immature mistakes when they were in middle school that now it's very clear as day they want to rekindle on. And because he's already made the declaration to Higashira that she holds an incredibly special place. And now you truly can get a better idea why she was so emotional, why she cried when she heard him say that, because she was like, damn, why would he, after everything he said to me, after everything that happened, why would he still feel this way about someone like me? And it's a sad situation, and it's a situation that I hope they are able to find a decent way to resolve. that won't result in more pain. But I do feel that there will probably be more pain than not coming before it's all said and done. So that is my reaction to this episode. It was a great episode to watch. It was great getting to get that backstory, and I hope you all did enjoy this episode with me. So with that said, if you did like the reaction, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And if you're going to be one of the first to be notified when a new reaction becomes available, hit the bell icon. So I'll see all of you wonderful people next week for another episode of My Stepmom's Daughter Is My Ex. Until that time, catch you later. Hey guys, so I wanted to kick back in at the end of this because as I was starting post-editing and I was looking through some of the comments of the community to this last episode, I realized that just in the first really 20 or 30 comments, you guys hate Yume now. Oh my goodness, you guys hate the hell out of her now. Not because of really any of the back and forth, miscommunication that they had, but because she accused him of cheating. So I want to speak up on that for just a moment because it was not a subject that I really spoke on at all in this reaction. Yes, she did falsely accuse him of cheating. And, obviously something like that can have lasting implications that can affect people depending on in the fashion that it's used for the rest of their life. And you notice that even though I acknowledged it through the reaction, I didn't really, it was one of those situations where because of their age, because of the grade level that they are in and the set of circumstances that they are faced with, I did not weigh what transpired at that particular scene when he bowed his head to her just for her to go on the cheating accusation. I did not weigh it as heavy as I would have if they were adults. And I will absolutely acknowledge that that was a personal preference on my end. I chose, given the nature of the circumstances of the time period that this show takes in, like as far as their age and the time period it takes place, that it is not something that I was going to ride her as hard for as I would if she would have done some foolishness like that as an adult, or even, at the end of their high school years and things like that. Was her falsely accusing him of cheating an incredibly wrong thing to do, an incredibly disrespectful and vindictive thing to do, even when it was very clear he was trying his best to apologize? Yes. And one thing that I do try to do in these reactions is I do not try to ride either or gender. A lot of people are speaking from personal experience in these comments that, they may have had to deal with something like that. And so it brings a really bad taste in your mouth. I still hold to what I said in the reaction, though, that miscommunication is the biggest culprit here. But I will admit that I would like to see that if they do rekindle, I would like to see something like that, brought back up again. And for it to be established to someone like Yume that that's not cool. That's not what we do when we are upset with other people. Again, these are children. They are learning about romance. They are learning about love. They are learning about how to be decent people in general. And so it's one of those situations where I am willing, if they are able to rekindle, I am willing to accept that was an incredibly poor sense of judgment on Yume's part. Than just writing her off and saying she's the spawn of Satan and she should never exist again. People do learn from their mistakes. And I know that how some people are feeling is that it's clear that Mizuto was trying his hardest to apologize to her. He was trying his hardest to, let her know. I mean, he bowed to her. And that's where a lot of people are sensitive about. This man bowed to you, apologizing profusely for how he acted out of line, and then you go and immediately start accusing him of cheating. I know that has rubbed everyone the wrong way, and I will acknowledge that in the two, if I had to judge who was more wrong in the situation, I would say it was Yume too. But I chose not to say that in my initial reaction because at the end of the day, I've also acknowledged that as we've listened to their dialogue that they've had with each other, that they both realized that there were things they could have both equally done better that could have easily salvaged this. And I do hold to my initial statement that had communication been proper in the early stages, we would have never gotten to this point. And he did tell her outright, I don't care about your friends. I don't want you to tell me about that. And that did hurt and that did sting too. It may not have been on the gravity of a cheating accusation by any means of the draw, but it was a wrongdoing too. And it's just something that I don't want to sit here and ride Yume as being evil this, evil that, evil this, evil that, and say that Mizuto had no faults either. So I understand now that this is actually an incredibly controversial episode and a lot of you heavily dislike Yume now, and you're perfectly fine and you're right to dislike her for that. Again, as someone who has had my own misgivings with the female population, I acknowledge the frustration, but I also acknowledge that there is growth on both ends of the column that needed to be had, and I do look forward to seeing that growth continue as we move into the end of this show. So I just wanted to speak on my initial thoughts about that. I completely respect that some of you will not agree with this statement, and that some of you will just outright say, no, she called him a cheater. People have gone to jail for stuff like that. I don't give a fuck. She can piss off and die. But these are middle schoolers, and I'm going to show a bit more leniency as they are going through learning what is right, what is wrong, and it will be nice to see if something like that is addressed, that you should not do something like that just because you're angry at later points in the show. So just wanted to say that part, and with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.